Previously on What If Mars Was Habitable? In an alternate timeline where Mars is habitable, many different nations spawn in, and as time goes on, not all of these nations seem to be friendly with each other. And with the dawn of the agricultural revolution and the rise of regional powers, one thing is certainly becoming inevitable. War will soon be coming to Mars. Who will prevail and survive the agricultural revolution, and who will rise, is yet to be decided. But now that the ice has melted, all the nations of Mars are preparing to take their place in the sun. And that's what's happened so far on What If Mars Was Habitable? Hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to the 4th episode of What If Mars Was Habitable. So where we left off on the last episode, we saw the creation of many new countries, as well as the beginning of the agricultural revolution, which we're going to talk about during this episode. So starting off over here, we're going to see the expansion of the yellow team, aka Burke. Now, with the rise of the agricultural revolution, a bunch of countries are going to start to expand more inward in order to get access to more agricultural lands. So Burke is going to start to first expand more eastward so that the settlers can gain access to more agricultural lands, which they can use to grow more crops and stuff like that. And we're going to see the same thing happen with the dark red team, who's going to expand and link up to Burke, and then expand more inward as well. And then finally, the orange team is going to expand into the remainder of this land over here, while Burke and the red team are expanding. Now, as you can see with the dark red team and the turquoise team, they are both landlocked because the orange team is blocking all their access to the ocean, and thus they're not able to get access to any marine life that they could use to have another food source, as well as fresh water. I don't know if the oceans are actually fresh water, but I'm sure there's ways that they convert it or whatever. But anyways, the red team and turquoise team are going to want access to that ocean. So that way that they could also have that water to water all of their crops as well in their newfound territories. So they're going to declare war on the orange team. After the dark red team and the turquoise team plot to do this, they will both start to simultaneously start to expand inward to the orange team. And the turquoise team will be able to cut into the orange team and gain access to the ocean. They will then both start to sweep into the orange team, eventually almost splitting it into two, until the orange team is able to launch a counteroffensive to prevent them from being able to split the country into two. Once Burke sees this, they're going to start to also invade into the orange team to get more agricultural land, as well as experience further troops in war. Eventually, all the forces are going to start to link up to one consolidated front line, and then everyone will start to make a push towards the capital, while also splitting the country into two, and then finally reaching the orange team's capital, dealing a devastating blow to the country. When the purple team starts to see that the orange team is most likely going to collapse, they will then get involved into the war and then gain the orange team's northern territory back in the main front, and everyone will capture this isolated territory from the orange team and then push into the orange team slowly but surely until they eventually surrender. In the peace treaty, Burke will gain all of these western territories from the orange team over in the red team, and they will gain all of their claims on the orange team as well, gaining the most amount of land in the war by gaining access to the ocean and also the orange team's capital, which the red team will eventually move to. Over in the turquoise team, and they will get access to the ocean as well by gaining all of these territories over here from the orange team. And last of all, for the purplish-pinkish team, they're going to gain access to the rest of the territory that they claimed. And one last thing, the turquoise team is also going to move its capital to a newly built city over by its new coast, right by the red team's capital. And that is going to conclude really the first major war of the series. Although for Burke and the pinkish-purplish team, it's not really going to affect them too much, but because they didn't gain that much land really, and the land that they did gain isn't that valuable because they've already got access to the ocean and all that. But for the red team and the turquoise team, this new land is going to be extremely valuable to them. As you can see, they've already moved their capitals over there, but now they've got access to water which they can use for their agricultural practices by using it by making the first irrigation systems and all of that, and also gaining access to all of the aquatic life that they can use for fishing. moving over to the rest, and Burke and the red team's rivalry will start to grow, even more with the rise of the agricultural revolution. The red team is going to start to expand more southwards to gain more access to more lands that they can use for agricultural practices. And then slowly but surely, they're going to keep on moving south while also gaining a bigger border with Burke, until eventually they look something like this. While doing that, the red team is also going to be simultaneously expanding more northward. Now that the Ice Age is over, they'll now have new access to that land, which beforehand was completely frozen over. The pink team will also start to expand more, gaining a bigger border with the blue team, and the blue team is going to take the rest of the land that's left over from the pink team's conquests. And just like the red team, the blue team is also going to start to expand more northwards to gain access to the newly accessible land up north, now that the Ice Age is over. The blue team is also going to start to expand more westward as well. But interestingly, as they start to expand more to the west, they're coming across weird tribal people. Now, these tribal people are basically barbarians. It seems like they don't have an actual civilization like all the other ones that have formed. They just kind of do whatever. But for some reason, a bunch of tribal people have teamed up and are preventing the blue team from expanding further. Whenever they do try to expand more, the tribal people attack their agricultural lands, which prevents them from being able to grow any crops. The blue team tries to see if any of the other countries have had any sort of experience like this, but no. Apparently they are the first people to have come into contact with these weird tribal people. So they just decide to leave it be and not try to colonize that area. While all this is happening, Burke is also going to start to expand more westward to claim more agricultural lands to use for farming, officially making them the biggest country in the world again. At least I think so. Maybe they might not be actually. I don't know. But power ranking rise, I would definitely say that Burke is at number 1, closely followed by the red team. Burke's brown team ally is also going to start to expand more northward to gain more access to agricultural lands as well as continue to deepen ties between themselves and Burke. Basically, this brown team is Burke's Canada, before Trump tariffed us. Now, just to make these borders a little bit better, I'm just going to take away this land real quick. Also, sorry in advance for any border gore. As you can tell, I'm just kind of drawing random lines, though I'm definitely going to be fixing that in the future, through wars and stuff like that. Quick intermission. By far, most of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so please do me and the channel a huge favor and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be notified on any new videos, as we have a great catalog of videos that you can watch, as well as plenty of planned videos which you can see on the screen right now that you would not want to miss. Also, if you love alternate history content similar to what I'm doing right now, then feel free to binge all my videos, as it will really help recommend me in the algorithm. I have lots of great plans for the channel, and I need you guys' help to get the channel out there so I can achieve those plans. Now, without further ado, let's get back to the video. Taking a look at the world map here, and as you can see, all these countries are starting to get extremely big. Now, if any of you guys think that this is unrealistic, that civilizations would be able to get this big, keep in mind that Mars is only 1/3 of the size of Earth. So each of these countries, when placed on Earth's map, would only be 1/3 of its size. But that being said, these civilizations also have the power to fly. I was doing some research in my free time out of curiosity to find out how fast that dragonoids would be able to fly on Mars. So taking a look at pterodactyls, and their speed varies by their size, but there are estimates that some could have flown to about 113 kilometers per hour, or 70 miles per hour for American viewers. And that means that in 24 hours, they'd be able to fly 2,712 kilometers per hour. Mars is about 3,389.5 kilometers in diameter. That means that if dragonoids are able to travel as fast as the fastest pterodactyls were on Earth, then they would be able to travel across the entire equator of Mars in a day in 6 hours. That's not even factoring the fact that Mars has way less gravity than Earth has, which makes it much easier for creatures to fly. Which is why in this alternate scenario, much more creatures are able to fly compared to Earth, where only small birds and stuff like that are able to fly. That means that it's not far out of the equation to assume that Dragonoids will be able to fly in one Mars day, which is a little over 24 hours, which we will go for the sake of this scenario, which is pretty insane to think about, that all these agricultural societies have the capability to travel all around the world in one day. This means that although all these civilizations have not taken over the entirety of Mars, they have been able to explore it, and all of them are also all able to trade with each other as well. Anyways, enough with that side tangent, let's get back to the scenario. Moving back over to the Dark Red team, and as you can see, they're at a very similar size to Berk, which means that they're a pretty powerful country, which I will rank third out of all the countries in the world, next to the Red team and Berk itself. Berk is going to see the Red team as a threat and will want to get rid of it, but luckily for them, the Dark Red team is coincidentally enough experiencing a civil war. This is because the Dark Red team is not properly administering its new agricultural regions that they have expanded into, and those people feel like they're being taken advantage of within the system, and thanks to funding through Berk, they're now starting to revolt against the Dark Red team, which has turned into a full-on revolution. Breaking away from the Dark Red team is this purplish team, this green team, and this dark blue team. The dark blue team is going to start to expand more inward into the country until it looks something like this. And while all of that's happening, the dark red team is going to start to push back the green team a bit, and also the purple team. But they will start to expand more towards the southeast of it. The green team is going to start to expand more towards the south, linking up with the blue team. In the west, more revolutions supporting the purple team breakaway region are going to start to pop up around the red team. To prevent all these rebellions from linking up, the red team is going to start to push against the purple team so that way that they don't link up. However, the northern two rebels are going to start to move towards each other in an attempt to link up. The green team is also going to start its counteroffensive by taking back some of the territories that were lost from them, and they'll start to push extremely deep into the red team until they look something like this. The blue team is going to start to expand south, linking up with the purple team, and all three of these rebel groups are going to work with each other instead of fight against each other and help each other overthrow the dark red team. Back over to the purple team rebels, and they will finally link up with each other, which will extremely help them out in fighting against the dark red team and linking up with the rest of the rebels. The red team is holding them off in the south, so the purple team will then start to expand towards the west to link up with Berk and then gain a bigger border with them so that way they can be better supplied, so that way they'll be able to fight against the dark red team effectively, while also ensuring that they'll be able to link up to the southern rebel group, encircling the dark red team, and then they would then take the rest of its territory in the west. This would be a huge blow to the dark red team, who is also starting to realize that Berk may have something to do with this little rebellion of theirs. Back over to the green team, and then they're going to have more successes against the dark red team, who is collapsing at this point, and they're going to continue to push deeper and deeper into central red team. And the dark blue team is also going to start to do the same, pushing into some of the remaining southern red team territories. The green team is going to continue to push into the central red team, and the purple team is going to take the rest of the remaining central red team territory, until all that is left of the red team is its core territories, where they'll then sue for peace. In the peace treaty, the blue team will gain all the southern territories that they have gained, and the purple team will also get the same, except for the northern territories that they've taken over, because those are part of the core brown team territory, because after the war, they switched a lot of their population over to the coast, so they'll gain those territories back. Last of all, the green team will also be established, and new capitals will be built here, here, and here, to prevent any potential conflicts from breaking out between these three countries in the future, because if one of them goes against the other two, they'll simply be able to push right into their capital. And that concludes the peace treaty, as well as this episode of the series. Thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and to turn on notifications for future videos of the What If Mars is Habitable series. Until next episode, or the next video, don't get anyone pregnant, but if you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Or video. Make sure to watch the videos also. Bye!